The Culture Plus series is part of the Norton Center's Creative Conversations program, which is supported by an endowment gift by 1995 Center College graduate Dr. Jeff Johnson and Ken Michael. I'd like to introduce you to Molly Baker, the Norton Center Engagement Services Manager, to provide some preliminary details you will need for this evening's program. Thank you, Molly.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for being here tonight. We are really looking forward to this evening's program. And as Steve mentioned, I just had a few logistical things to share with you. First, so we're asking that at the top of your screen, you select the speaker view for your setting for tonight. That way, all the speakers' video feeds will be placed at the top of your page, and so you'll actually be able to see everyone as they speak and answer questions and continue with discussion. And on top of that, we're also asking that audience members please turn their videos off, and that way we can make sure that the speakers' video feeds are the ones that are grouped together at the front of the page. And finally, at the end of tonight's program, there will be a session with questions and answers. So if you would like to submit a question, please do so using the chat box and direct that question to Matt Overing. He'll be collecting those questions and sending them to Dr. Abrams, our moderator tonight, who will be able to share those with the panelists. So I believe that's it for logistics, and I will turn it back over to Steve.
And just thank you, Molly. Thank you very much. And this program is being recorded, and we will have an opportunity to post it on our website, and you'll get some information in an email if you want to share it or see it again. Thanks to the entire Norton Center staff for making this program happen and for all of the hard work that each of you are providing to get us prepared to have in-person programs again. Speaking of which, we are getting so close to announcing and sharing with the community our plans for the upcoming performing arts season. Yes, live in person at some point in the future, coming to a theater near you. So stay tuned. And it's with great pleasure that I introduce Cedar College's new president, Dr. Milton Moreland, to share a few words. Originally from Idaho, Dr. Moreland earned a degree in history from the University of Memphis. From the Claremont Graduate University of California, he earned master's and PhD degrees supporting his studies in archaeology, ancient history, and religion. Dr. Moreland has been at Rhodes College since 2003 in various roles, most recently as its chief academic officer. This is amidst our current situation is pretty special. Dr. Moreland and his family moved to Danville in late June and has been busy preparing Center College for its return to classes amidst this current pandemic. So please help me welcome Milton Moreland.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Molly. Thank all of you for joining tonight. I was thrilled to see this happening, partially because we've been sitting in meetings talking about COVID-19 for months now, and to kind of shift the subject a little bit to what we need to be talking about, what we want to be talking about, how we want to participate together. And even though we're doing it virtually, I'm so pleased with the Norton Center for providing this venue and for thinking openly and optimistically about how we can continue to provide great educational and cultural and artistic material to our community in Kentucky, and now virtually through Zoom, the magic of Zoom, to people all over the world. So we are so pleased that you joined us. I am particularly pleased with the topic tonight and with the artists and thought leaders who have joined us. I am going to let our moderator introduce them, but I was so happy to see the topic and the thoughtfulness of bringing people together who can really not just think about this moment, but think about how we can be better coming out of this moment, how we can have a better society after we're done with this pandemic. So looking forward to that. As the 21st president at Center, I have had the honor and the pleasure to work with a crack team, if you will, an amazing team of administrators and faculty and staff. I am so appreciative to all of you at the Norton Center for your work. And I'm appreciative to our senior leadership at the college, which includes our own Andrea Abrams here, who will moderate tonight's program. Andrea joined Center about 13 years ago. She's an associate professor in anthropology, but of late, for the last several years, has been the associate vice president for diversity affairs and special assistant to the president. She actually wears many hats at the college, but is a award-winning faculty member, a thoughtful scholar, well-published scholar in her own right, but also now dedicated to helping Center faculty, Center staff, and Center students build a better and better community. So I am so pleased to be a colleague of Andrea Abrams, and I look forward to the program this evening. I'll turn it over to Professor Abrams at this moment.
Thank you so much, President Moreland, for that introduction of this event and for being a supporter of this. Thank you to Steve and Molly and everyone who's helped to bring this together. I'm really excited about this evening, and I want to extend a very warm welcome to everyone in the audience who has come here to learn from these artists and to be a participant in this conversation. So we're going to get right into it, and I'm going to actually let them introduce themselves. They've been given the task of coming up with 3 words or phrases that best describe them as an artist, and they can expand a little bit to give you a better sense of how they understand themselves as artists. And I will ask Mrs. Yolantha Harrison Pace to go first.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor to be around so many people at one time, considering the COVID. If I was going to describe 3 things that would set me off as being who I am, one would be that I'm coming out of a Christian tradition. The other one would be the Black culture, and then using literacy and the performing arts to reach people all around the world.
Thank you. How about you, Frank X. Walker?
What a challenge. Only 3 things or 3 words. One of the things that matter the most to me always begin with I'm Danville native. That's really important to me, to be associated with Kentucky no matter where I travel to. And a multidisciplinary artist activist. And I think that, you know, the work being produced now really separates the artist activist from the artist. I think regular artists are shut down during this challenge, and the activists feel charged and we're generating new work because of this moment we're in.
Thank you. Jessica Chisley.
So yeah, as an artist, it's interesting that I've never necessarily thought of myself as an artist. Music has been a part of my life pretty much my entire life. I grew up in the church just like Miss Pace. My mother is actually a Pentecostal minister. I had aunts that would sing church hymns all the time. I have cousins that are musicians, that are producers. So yeah, music's been a part of my life for a long time. And so kind of like Frank was saying, it's hard to use 3 words or 3 phrases to describe yourself. I would say as an artist, I see myself as like a conduit. I see myself as a messenger, a storyteller, and a vessel. That's not 3 words, that's 4. I can count. But but yeah, so I say that because I think that music's a gift. I think as artists, our art, our talent is a gift that we are able to bring to others and connect with them on a deeper level. So in case you're wondering what I mean by that, I will give you a demonstration. So my father one of his favorite songs was a song that the artist himself no longer likes to perform. But the story, as I'm told, is that my father would show up at his brother's house, and at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning, he would be out in the parking lot, and this song would be just blaring on loop. And so my uncle's wife was like, we're gonna find that CD and we're gonna break it. So anyway, but yeah, so music can be deep and touch your soul and talk about things and transport you to places. And it can also just be silly and put you in a good mood when you've had an awful, awful day. So for anybody out there that's having an awful day, this song is for you. And in honor of my dad, because he's all about trains, let's go somewhere like there. All right, so I kind of feel like a street performer in the subway right now. All right. Hopefully the audio is not too loud. Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry. Be happy. 'Cause in this life we have some troubles. If you worry, you'll make it double. But don't worry. Just be happy. Ain't got no place to lay your head. Somebody came and they took your bed. Well, don't worry. Just be happy. The landlord say your rent is late. He's gonna have to lift the gate. But don't worry. Just be happy. Don't worry. Be happy now. Ain't got no cash, got no style, 'cause you ain't got nobody that can make you smile. But don't worry, just be happy. 'Cause when you worry, your face it frowns, and that'll bring everybody down. Well, don't worry, just be happy. Don't worry, be happy now.
Oh, wow. One or two ways. I guess the most striking way is my mother's influence. I think of my mother as my first poetry teacher. I'm also a PK. She was a Pentecostal minister for 22 years. And I see that influence in my work all the time, especially my written work. And I'm also from a very large family. I'm one of 11 kids. So in my work, we also see common themes that deal with family, identity, place, social justice, and history. But the family is constant. No matter what the book is, after 10 books, I think you can still extrapolate those commonalities, especially the family-oriented nature of my work. I can't see the world in a lens that doesn't include family. And so I would say that my mother's influence as a teacher, educator, with some really hard-line ethical opinions about the world that really kind of drill a sense of right and wrong into us, shows up, and these family themes that seem perpetual for me.
Thank you. Yolantha, Harrison Pace, how have you been shaped by your background?
Well, my background has shaped just about everything that I've ever done. Two things really have shaped my identity, and they have been the fact that I was raised in a house full of men, all males. I have all brothers and no sisters. And then the fact I think that I'm the elder amongst us. I grew up during segregation, and integration happened when my family would walk in the room starting in 1966. If we showed up, then integration happened. So those things are what kind of shaped me, and my identity of having all boys around me. They always let me know I was a girl, but they treated me like a boy. So here's some of what I have evolved into concerning that fact. I'm going to do a few poems, and then I'm going to read an excerpt from a play. Please stop calling me girl. Can I help you girls? How are you girls today? Oh, us girls are going to be in the kitchen. There is something missing. Oh, I don't mean to be rude, but have you turned the lights on and looked at me nude? I've got more pronounced changes and body rearranges than it takes to make a boy, if he can, into a man. How many children must I birth to be honored as a woman of worth? Woman, not girl. How many tampons does it take? How many turkeys must I bake? At the sight of one hair on his chest or chinny chin chin, a boy is instantly declared a man. What size bosom must I unfurl so I'm no longer decreed a girl? What must I knit, crochet, or sew before all will know with the man I can stand as a woman toe to toe, not as a girl? I'm a woman. Someone please inform the world. You see, girls are considered playthings and like toys for men who are allowed to outgrow their boy. Their girl is to be owned and possessed. Oh, but a woman, no contest. Milk for thought. Why does the Adam's apple carry more importance than breasts? I'd love to see a baby find his or her sustenance from a man's neck and watch the disastrous effect. Tired of being the punchline or the glass ceiling? It'll never be broken till we as women break the, oh, I like being called girl. It makes me feel so young syndrome. What a joke. I will be sharing an excerpt from my play, Love You Madly. Now, this takes place into what we used to call an old folks' home. Now they're called senior citizen retirement center or something real fancy like that. This is between an old man, an old black man, and an old white man. What kind of question is, what makes me me? What makes you you? I'm still not sure what you mean. Or when I say white man, what do you think? Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Patrick Henry, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, or why not Truman Capote, Jeffrey Dahmer, or James Earl Ray? Oh, those are bad people. Or bad people can't be white. Or what if when you said black man, I responded Stephen Fetchit, Amos and Andy, and O.J. Simpson? Why not when black folks say white man, nobody responds Robert Redford? The same reason that when you say black man, white folks don't respond. Sidney Poitier. You see, there's much more to me than the civil rights issues and slavery. George Washington Carver, Maya Angelou, Shirley Chisholm, Kamala Harris. Oh, yes, I see what you mean. Oh, what's that colored gal's name? Oh, she's my favorite colored gal. She was in Batman. What's that? Hallie. Hallelujah Berry. Colored. You are old. I haven't been colored for over 60 years. Well, what's the matter with colored? I got 5 beautiful colored grandbabies. What color? Colored. My daughter, she's married to a fine colored black boy. Colored? What color? Colored. Oh, Vietnamese. No, colored. Mexican. No, colored. Oh, Hawaiian. No, colored. I said colored. Corona, I'm sorry. This is Corona. Yes, Frank X. Walker is here. This is Corona. Corona doesn't talk. She gave up talking when the COVID happened. She said she's not going to talk to anybody but me, so she whispers to me. What? Oh, she wants to do a poem about identity. Oh, she said, this is for Frank Walker. All right. Pretty in purple. Pretty in pearls. Pretty in pink. It makes me think, why can't I be just pretty in me? That's good, Corona. Corona, stop. Stop! I'm sorry, everybody. I'm so very sorry. I'm going to pass the baton now. Corona.
Thank you so much, Corona and Yolantha. That was beautiful. So we're gonna bring you back here. That was great. And we're gonna get a kind of building on what Corona is affecting Corona. Let's talk about the coronavirus and Black Lives Matter and the political situation. This has been a very tumultuous past few months. How have these events shaped your work or you as an artist? And Jessica, I'll ask you to answer that question first.
Sure. So the first thing that I do is, if something's bothering me or something is just sitting really heavy on my heart, is I will either write about it or I will sing about it. And so one of the things that I did with Corona is I wrote a song for one of my friends, and it was for her birthday, but it came about through a group of other friends, but it was designed to just kind of try to bring some joy and just kind of uplift the spirits after being stuck in a house for, well, forever, really. But yeah, it was reminding people to wash their hands and don't touch your face. And just 2 bars of it is, let me tell you about this monster, cruel as it can be, creeps in undetected through a cough or a sneeze. They say to wash your hands and wash them frequently. Spray, wipe, disinfect. Do your part to keep things clean. Shelter in place, don't touch your face, because the COVID-19 is one sneaky wig. So I kind of did that just to, I don't know, try to have kids, help kids in a time like this where something's so terrifying. And yeah, but there's just a lot going on. With all of the riots, the death of Breonna Taylor, the death of just so many right now, that it's hard to try to figure out a way to see a light at the end of the tunnel, to bring joy. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Mr. Walker.
Same question. I mean, it's a lot to process. I think I mentioned earlier in the intro that I know a lot of artists and writers have talked to me about being unable to produce anything because of the trauma in their lives, directly related to the pandemic or to the protests or this political moment. But for me, it's been the exact opposite. You know, starting back in April, every year I always try to do the Dirty 30 for April National Poetry Month. My friends and I who are writers, we try to write a poem every day for the month of April. And I chose this year to just focus on the theme of the pandemic so I could process it and write about what was happening in my everyday life. And then after the month was over, I couldn't stop. I was still so moved by what was happening that I wrote for almost 3 months straight, a poem a day about what was happening around me. And I guess the good news, even though I wasn't intending to, I ended up with more than a book length worth of new poetry that will come out as a book, I believe, in mid-September. And right when I thought the pandemic was over because it was no longer on the front page, the protests were happening, the uprising around the country and the world. Then that became what I was writing about. So those two kind of clashing, intersecting issues that affect all of us have all informed a set of new work. I'm going to read a handful of these poems for you at the time I have left, and you'll see the range of what I was responding to and how it all connects together. This title poem is the title of the collection, Masked Man Black, after Paul Laurence Dunbar's We Were the Mask. Black male me walks into a store in broad daylight, black phone in my hand, wearing a black mask. You already know how this ends. Somebody felt threatened. Somebody got shot. Black woman wailing makes news, but it isn't new. All the chalk outlines are white, all the states are red. The coronavirus doesn't discriminate. Racists still do. Peel off masks, no grin, no lies. One of the challenges with having a large family and being a Danville native is my family was planning a huge Easter dinner in the middle of the pandemic, which we were terrified about here in Lexington. So I wrote this prayer for my family and relatives. It's called Easter Prayer 2020 AC, AC for after Corona. Oh, powerful Black Jesus, please protect my brothers and sisters and their families and friends when they gather together illegally to enjoy Easter dinner and the Sabbath. May they pass around the sanitizer after holding hands in prayer. May whoever is lifting up your name be wearing a mask correctly, O Lord. May any pork that touches their lips not mess with their blood pressure. Hide the salt, speak Jesus, and please grant them the vision to bring at least one sugar-free dessert, some diet sodas, and unsweetened tea. Strengthen them for the fight against that devil diabetes and all cancers, Lord. Thank you for their on-time unemployment checks, Medicaid, and Obamacare. Help them choose wisely at the choices between the cable and light bill and their life insurance. And if it is your will to take all their asses because they refuse to believe the corona is real, let this be the best meal they ever ate, Lord. And take them all on the same day so that they may comfort each other in the hospital and allow the rest of us to endure only one drive-through service. Amen.
Amen.
Some of them might be. DJ battle, you know, the summer for us is usually filled with outdoor concerts, not the summer. DJ battle with a quote from President DJ Trump. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. The oppressor's private property is always more important to the privileged. That power is what police protect. Backed by a National Guard fronting a commander-in-chief known to incite and encourage violence against POC by the FOP and other good people versus thugs. If you don't understand this behavior or these people, you don't understand emotional or psychological pain. You don't understand generational grief. And you really don't understand injustice or American history. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No just ICE raids, no guilty cops, just us, dead and dying and chalk marked over and over again, like some whack DJ rewinding the bridge or dead refrain scratching at our eyes with already viral, breathless black body porn, professionally made by the hands, feet, and now knees of thug police again. Instead of turning the tables, we drag out turntables and spin and spin and spin, searching old wax, seeking to sample something human. Anything truly good to mix with this black, with this life until we matter. Combustibles after Mary Baraka. Who already sick and tired of the planned new normal? Who want change? Who demand justice now? Who know their lives matter? Who die the most at the hands of cops? Who speak riot? Who they say loot and look less righteous? Who set police cars ablaze? Who breathe with bricks and water bottles and fire? Who eat pepper spray, flashbangs, and tear gas for dinner? Who say F the police and they curfew? Who burn the Target and the precinct down? Who ready to be the next hashtag? And I'll close with Mrs. Butterworth, Uncle Ben, and Aunt Jemima. Mrs. Butterworth, Uncle Ben, and Aunt Jemima walk into a bar in America. Butterworth says, "I'm being repackaged." Ben says, "I'm being rebranded." Jemima says, "I remember when they branded my mama on her back." The bartender says, "I could stand in the middle of Main Street and kill somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters." Butterworth says, "Then I'll take 8 bullets in my sleep." Ben says, "Choke me to death with your knee." Jemima says, "Lock me in a holding cell and say I decided to hang myself." The bartender poured the drinks, said he felt threatened and was simply standing his ground. Said he thought the thug was reaching for a gun. The headline said, "Well-loved American foods resisted arrest, failed to comply, and were delicious while black." Butterworth's daughter said, "Here's to progress. We might finally get an anti-lynching bill." Ben's son said, "I'd rather they abolish qualified immunity." Jemima's kid said, "You know, they abolished slavery once. Then they hung my mama on that box." Thank you. That's just a sample of about 60-something poems that deal with the pandemic and the uprising in America and around the world.
That was powerful. I feel like we need to take a minute and sit with that. All of these that you've all shared have been really powerful, and with the things that you've talked about that you've wrestled with in terms of your backgrounds, in terms of the current events, and the ways in which you have decided to express your art, makes me think about the ways in which it has to be a challenge sometimes to be an artist, whether that challenge is coming from inside yourself or it's challenges that society is setting up for you. So I'm going to invite each of you to talk about that. What have been the challenges that you have faced as an artist? How have you overcome that? And what advice do you have for other artists who are making their way, beginning to find themselves as artists? And I'll begin with you again, Ms. Harrison Case.
Oh, my biggest challenge, the first challenge that really got me was when I wasn't Black enough. being in the theater and performing arts arena. And then there were times when I was too Black. And then I had to come to the conclusion that I could only be me. And as a matter of fact, to overcome that, I start writing myself and writing some plays, one-woman shows for myself, so that I didn't have to worry about being Black enough, tall enough, fat enough, skinny enough, so that I would be able to be empowered by who I was. And sometimes that's my recommendation to others. Write your own stuff and then go from there. And it's been amazing. Then somebody else, can I do that? I want to do that too. And that's how you begin leaving a legacy. But you got to come to a reckoning of who you are and not let all these other things, because even when I first came to Danville, I was told, you ain't from here, you're never going to be from here. But that was the most freeing thing that they could have said to me. That meant I could just be me.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, your thoughts?
Well, overcoming challenges, I guess because the way my mother raised me, a challenge was something to be overcome. And a lot of my work tries to look trauma right in the face. That discomfort that I feel inside, I have two choices. I can run from it, and pretend it doesn't exist, or I can walk directly into it and hope that that emotional stuff informs the work on the page, and somehow that is translated to readers or the audience members. But I think the work, the poems can have a certain temperature, whatever the tone is. If it rises off the page, it has the potential to impact people in a way that they feel something. And that's my biggest hope, that at the end of the long 45-minute reading, that people are exhausted emotionally because they felt something during that evening. And to me, that means that the work moved them, even if it made them angry or sad or excited, or it made them question something. It moved them. It touched them in a place where they're not the same person anymore. And I think that's art operating at its highest level, if it can change people. I happen to believe that, that if your artist is a change agent, then maybe we could change people for the better. So that means that right now in America, artists are really, really important. When things are tough, when things are hard, people listen to music or get lost in a movie to escape or to feel better. But I think people understand intuitively that they're trying to survive, they're trying to change. And my hope as a writer, although I dabble in other art forms, is that that poetry becomes the thing that everybody says, I need more of that. Let me rub some of that on and get through this moment. And not just use it to escape, but to be better people, be part of a better community and a better world. Ideally.
Thank you. Jessica, I'm going to ask you to share as well. And I wanted to check in with you. Did you have another song you wanted to share?
I'll wait till the end.
Okay. All right. So I'll answer the question now.
Yeah, I honestly, as a musician, most of my career has been in groups. And the longest stint that I spent in a band, I was the only female, the only woman in the group. And not only was I the only woman, I was the only Black woman. And none of the band members, none of them whatsoever, ever made that an issue. So I wanted to be very clear about that to start off with. And then sometimes we played music. It was kind of an eclectic group. We played everything from, we play Motown standards, we play rock music. We were just literally all over the map, like modern stuff, just top 40. And I think a lot of times when people see you show up with an instrument, especially a guitar, you get kind of pigeonholed into what people think you may actually play. And so it's like, oh, you must play blues, or you must do R&B, or soul. And I'm just like, I do a lot of things, but thank you for that assumption. So yeah, I can remember one thing that happened after one of our big shows with the big band. We played a song by AC/DC called Back in Black, and I was doing lead vocals on it. And so after the show, this guy comes up to me and he's just like, man, I should have known. I should have known it would take a Black woman to bring that song to life. And I think, obviously, it was a compliment. The song, in case you don't know it, it's a very hard song that's in the rafters. And I like to stand on the ground with both feet. So it's a hard song to sing. In his way, that was a compliment. But a higher compliment would have just simply been, it's incredible. It was incredible hearing a song that's that difficult done justice. That's it. Didn't have to mention me being a Black woman singing that song. And I think that a lot of times it's kind of too easy to just throw race into the mix instead of just honoring and recognizing the art and what someone's offering you and giving you in that space. So to the advice part of things to young artists, I would say you're gonna get stuff like that in your life, especially if you're a violinist. I have a young cousin who plays violin and clarinet, so she's gonna probably find her way in orchestras here and there. And yeah, you're probably gonna be told you're not good enough. And every time someone tells you that you're not good enough, let that be to your advantage and your gain. Take it, make yourself stronger. That's pretty much what I do. I'm just like, okay, you think I can't? I'll show you. And that's always been my personality, because that's how my family raised me to be. They always said, do you think you can do it? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, then go do it. And that's how it is. So that's my advice to the youngsters out there is, don't let a door slam in the face and keep it closed. Kick that back open. I had to censor myself. Whew, that was close. All right.
Thank you for sharing that. I think right now what we'll do is we'll open it up for questions from the audience to the artist. We have one question already, but I'm gonna invite other people to start sending your questions in so that we can get some feedback from the artist. So the first question is from Rick Axtell to Frank. As an Appalachian poet, do you think Charles Booker's Hood to the Holler movement has potential to bring together Kentucky's long neglected populations in Appalachia and in urban Louisville and Lexington?
Almost. I'll say almost. I was surprised that to gain the amount of momentum that he did in such a short time. But I was also pleased to see the audiences that showed up as he traveled around the state. But also, and I lived here, most of my 59 years. So I also know where I live, and I understand that in those rural spaces in Kentucky, there's still very conservative spaces, and it's more difficult to move them away from the ideas that they've been convinced are the truth from talk radio and television, especially if they're just watching Fox News, for instance, and they believe it's the truth. There's a reason why most of the South are all red states, and it shouldn't be that way. We all voted, are conscious, and participated, and try to overcome all the systemic voter suppression and gerrymandering designed to negate our votes. I think we can make a difference. But we still have our Charles Booker sign in the window. But I'm pretty sure that we won't write him in, but I feel very strongly that he made a difference. He reminded people something that still shocks the world. There were more Black Lives Matter rallies in rural parts of Kentucky and West Virginia and Virginia than people can imagine. Even my small town of Dallas had regular protest gatherings, marches, but to have that in Hazard and in the hills and the mountains, in spaces where people of color are less than 2%, to see this multi-generational, multi-ethnic conglomerate come together and speak up, to circle back around, means that we're almost there. You can see the progress, but we're not there yet. I hope we get there in early November.
Thank you. To Yolantha or Jessica, which artists are you influenced by today?
I could say that I don't have a particular artist that I'm influenced by today, because things like a butterfly can influence me. Chimes, some of the work that Mr. Walker has done has influenced me, but at the same time, something that Mary McLeod Bethune will have done, or Madam C.J. Walker, or just seeing a caterpillar going down the sidewalk can influence me. So I don't have any one person in particular.
Jessica?
I would say the same. I'm inspired by a lot of different artists, and I think that's part of what helps to create the art that I create, is that it comes from everywhere. Some artists that I'm particularly impressed by, I love her. That's H.E.R. She is about 23 years old or so, very young, but is an incredible guitarist. She's a singer-songwriter, and when she plays, she can move a room. And so I'm inspired by her. I'm inspired by Alicia Keys. But it's hard to just narrow it down to just one. My ear likes a lot of different things.
Understood.
Because see, like from Poe to Shakespeare, that shakes my boat. So
I understand. Mr. Walker, Jason would like to know, regarding our current racial climate, how should Black men respond to help with any changes that are needed?
We should do the same thing Black women are doing. Participate, follow their lead. I was raised by women. I know what strength looks like. And I think if Black men can let our egos and masculinity get out of the way, we could all get somewhere.
I'll just say amen to that. And to Jessica from Lisa Jones, what was your most memorable moment with Dump Truck on the Run?
It can't be just one. That group I loved it. We were together for 7 years, and it could have even been longer than that, but we were a group that played parties, we played festivals, and we just had fun. Dump Truck on the Run was a name that we kind of voted on. It was going to just be Dump Truck, and then we added the On the Run at the end of it. It was composed of faculty and staff members here at Center College, and we'd get together and just have fun and play. And our shows, sometimes they were themed. I can remember at one point, one of the organizers of the band who started it wearing a unicorn outfit for an entire show. But we just had so much fun. And that's where I ended up actually meeting John Rusnak, who's my late band partner in the Sunspots. We were a musical duo. And so we both were in Dump Truck on the Run, and we ended up later on becoming Sunspots. But yeah, I can't just narrow it down to one. There were way too many fun moments.
All right. To any of you, what would you, this current version of you, tell the 25-year-old version of you about 2020? Did y'all follow that?
Number one, I would tell that young version of me, be present. I would tell that young version of me to eat some of America's apple pie. I would tell that young version of me to play ball, be involved in America's national pastime, so that when you got stuck in this part of the COVID situation, you'd have memories to look back upon and to draw upon to get you through.
Well, that's hard. Being at the 38, I'm currently 38, so 25 wasn't, I guess, that long ago for me to remember. But I would say, knowing what I know now and who I am now and the person that I've become now, I would tell my 25-year-old self to not be afraid to be who you are. And it's all right to be Black, girl. So it's my whole life. I've just kind of, like Miss Pace said earlier in the program, I always felt so apologetic about having dark skin. And it took me to this point in my life to kind of to stop apologizing and be like, okay, I'm Black, and like, that's not the end of the story, people. So so yeah, that's what I would tell my 25-year-old self, is stand strong in who you are, because you don't know who you influence and who's looking at you. And when they see you standing strong and they see you being who you are and doing what you do unapologetically, you are giving them permission to do the same. And I think that's what we're here on this earth to do, is be light, to be a light for other people. So that's what I tell my 25-year-old self.
Thank you. So in our last few minutes here, I think we should end with your art. So I'm going to invite Jessica to do her second song, and then we'll let Mr. Walker close us out with a poem.
Cool. So my second song, it's the short version of this is, I happened to see about maybe a week ago, a performance of Sammy Davis Jr. doing Mr. Bojangles live. And Mr. Bojangles is a song that I've always loved because of the story of this man. And it is just, it brought me to tears. I had the opportunity at the Norton Center to see the Fosse review, and there was just one man on stage with the light, and he just danced this entire thing, an interpretive dance. And it was gorgeous. And there's only been one other song that I've had the privilege to perform that has done that and had that effect on me. And that was with my late band partner that I mentioned, John Rosenack. It's called Old Man, and it's by Neil Young. And it's been covered by a few other artists as well. But the story that's told there and the connection that I had, and just listening, when John and I would sing, it was about the harmony. So part of being an artist is community. And I found community with John. And I think one of the things that made us so strong as a duo was the way that we came together from two totally different backgrounds, separated by 20 years in age. John from Pittsburgh, myself from Kentucky, John a white man, and myself a Black woman. But we came together and just made beautiful music. So this song is a tribute song to John. He passed away, it'll be two years this September, but this is a tribute song to John. And once again, I'm all about the visuals too. So I'm going to transport us one more time like this. Good. Old man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you were. Old man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you. Old man, look at my life. 24, there's so much more. Live alone in a paradise. Love lost such a cost. Give me things that don't get lost, like a coin that won't get tossed. Old man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you. I need someone to love me the whole day through. can last. Look at how the time goes past, but I'm all alone at last, rolling home to you. Old man, take a look at my life, I'm a lot like you. I need someone to love me the whole day through. Oh, look in my eyes, you can tell that's true. Old man, look in my life, I'm a lot like you were. Old man, look in my life, I'm a lot like you.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. Walker?
All right, love that song. Chandler is right over there. I'm going to close with a poem that's also in the same collection. I think about struggle, and especially struggle for liberation. People often think it's just all hard times, but there's one ingredient, one variable that makes it all easier to be stronger at the end of all that struggle. So this is a poem from my wife, Shauna. It's called Corona Love. Our stay-at-home order has come with a silver lining. Suddenly, we have enough time to take our time with things that matter, with everything we may have taken for granted. Saturday, for example, my wife and I made love all day. Now, I don't mean we locked ourselves in our bedroom for hours and hours, stayed naked, and you know. I mean, all the kids slept in, so we didn't rush either. We took our time. We kissed. I mean, really kissed. No pecks, no smooches. We kissed deep and long, and we meant it. I have to admit that the way the machine ran around here pre-corona, we were lucky to get a peck in before getting 4 of us off in 4 different directions to 4 different places, all before 8 a.m. A measly peck almost wanted his head to last all day. So we didn't just kiss, we lingered in each other's arms, a place we found ourselves still clinging to after digesting the previous day's body count and the news, trying to verbalize our worst fears as the headlines got closer and closer to our front door. We savor everything now. We know that if one of us gets sick, there'll be nothing but difficult choices to follow. If any of our kids were stricken, we were told we couldn't be at their bedside. What then? So we hugged and flirted through breakfast. We held hands, sent private messages, planned a naked nap to coincide with our 2-year-old sleep time. The few we know who are dying will soon become many. We know there will be more funerals we can't attend. The impending loss is so heavy, it's hard to convince teenagers that the homework that used to be life and death is just that serious right now. So we smile and wink and touch and hug and kiss and squeeze and cry and laugh every chance we get. We don't know what's coming and who's going or who will be among them. So take our advice. If you wake up already where you want to be and don't have to rush anywhere, recognize it as a gift. Take your time. Linger, wallow, forget finishing. Don't stop. Leave a tender bookmark and come back as soon as you can. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you sincerely to Yolantha, to Frank, to Jessica, and to the audience for for being part of this really important night.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I jumping back on to once again thank all of you, Jessica, Andrea, Frank, Yolantha, for really sharing your thoughts on how a most relevant topic, Black Lives Matter, intersects with culture and the arts. There's deep gratitude for your participating in this conversation through your art, through your words, and through this program. I learned a lot, and I hope that each of you who participated on the call also found this hour to be meaningful, powerful, and beautiful. So I'm going to shift to next month when we will be having our next program, our Culture Plus program, and it's a little lighter than what we were just talking about. When was the last time you played a video game? Was it Fortnite or Minecraft? Do any of you even know what Fortnite or Minecraft is? Was it bowling on Wii? Perhaps it was Pac-Man or Space Invaders in the 1980s. Our next Culture Plus program, currently scheduled for September 17th, the Norton Center examines how the new, to some of us, trend of electronic gaming and sports competitions is quickly becoming a major force in the entertainment industry. Please join us for Culture Plus Esports and learn more about how the arts and culture are an important part of electronic sports teams and gaming. And it's truly an exciting and relevant topic for all of us to explore. And you'll see now that with Culture Plus, we're really intersecting the arts and culture with a lot of different topics that are important, mainstream, relevant, being discussed, being practiced, and we hope that you'll continue to join us on these programs, especially while we are not able to fill the seats that are behind me. And I again want to thank all of you, and on the call right now, who we can see your faces, thank you deeply. And for everyone else, I hope you thank us, and we'll send you more information about what's coming next. So with that, I wish everyone a good night, and we'll look forward to seeing you all again. Thanks.